Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the charts for XRP, see what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now if you have not yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find on down there, so why not go ahead and check it out today. Okay guys, let's get right on into this then, right? So here we have XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the hourly chart and Binance is our data source here, okay? So we've been kind of trading sideways for a little while now, right? And we can kind of use our trend lines here to kind of depict what's been going on. Now you could argue that we're kind of looking at these trends and it keeps kind of invalidating and keeps moving on up, and just right, because ultimately these trend lines, that they are the easiest thing to draw on the chart and therefore also the easiest thing to invalidate. So as we kind of draw this across these wicks, and yes, I use the wicks and not the closed and open positions because I'd like to think about where the price has been and it's moved to those particular areas. So I use the wicks, but you can of course use the open and closed positions if you prefer. But here we can see that we're just trading sideways. It's more that it's kind of in this kind of channel, right, that more than it is in any kind of triangular wedge or anything like that. But this sideways trading is also known as a continuation pattern, and it's usually a continuation pattern for what led into it, right? So if I actually articulate this so it actually makes sense, so apologies for that. We're moving on up, okay? Our continuation pattern sideways, which means after this finishes, we continue in the direction of the trend that went into it, right? So up, sideways, then up. Okay, that's kind of what you have. Now there are other ways that you can kind of look at this structure, okay, and you could almost say that actually this might be under you could argue that the patterns where you have an upward trend, it imitates a continuation pattern, but actually it's not, and you break all the way back down again, okay? But this one here is a continuation pattern in my opinion, as we are slightly decreasing. So you can either take a look at this like a bull flag if you want. Volume come up, a slight decrease, and it is ever so slight. As again, if I grab those trend lines, you can kind of see it right in here, right? So we are decreasing here, and this one here you can also see is a slight decrease, ever so slightly. So you could argue that this is more of like a bull flag scenario. And again, if you actually throw the volumes in here, you can also get confirmation of this. Basically high volume for the pole, and then volume drops off and basically dies all the way down. Now we should be very, very cautious though. We are not talking about moving up massively. Okay, I see this as a B wave move. Okay, so we have the A, we have the B wave, and then we have the maximum kind of level of my opinion here would be 54.9 as the C wave high. However, we should be very much open to the idea of what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin is leading the way, and we should definitely be thinking about where Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin might get rejected from and what that might mean for XRP. We haven't exactly made good progress here since this high A wave, which means we have a high probability at this point in time of thinking about a double top. A double top would be 46.59, meaning that we'll never actually reach that 54.9 cent target, the C wave potential. Because if Bitcoin decides to find resistance at, let's say, 31, 32K, and then starts to go down towards the 20s, essentially, or the low 20s, we could potentially be looking at basically 46.59 being the top, creating a bearish double top scenario, and then a break on down. So there's a few percentage points to potentially be had here. I would look at this as, potential 9% move just up a little bit further. I'm not saying that we're going to drop down right away. I don't know how long this is going to take. I can do Elliott wave. Elliott wave doesn't give us timings, so it's important to note that this could take another week, it could take 2 weeks, it could take a month for all I know, right? This continuation pattern could just continue going sideways. It's very unlikely, of course. It's the extreme end of the spectrum. I would have thought we would probably play it out within a couple of days, but super hard to actually get timing is my kind of point here. Anyone who kind of gives you timings on the market, they are just guessing, and if they're lucky enough to get it right, then kudos to them. But for the most part, most people will get it wrong. It's incredibly difficult to time the market. Okay, instead, we use things like Elliott wave to predict people's behavior in the space. And right now, there's going to be a small surge to the upside, in my opinion. We can take a look at the stochastic RSI. We can see that we're moving on up here. But again, we're not making too much ground, right? So we should be aware that the large time frames are looking for a big pullback. So the 4 hourly is overbought, the 8 hourly is overbought, the daily is overbought. So there is going to be a pullback, which then leads me to thinking this double top is the most probable scenario. We'll push on up, we'll probably find 46 cent, and then just get rejected from there and fall on down. Now, this brings us up onto our daily, okay? So now we're talking about what's going on with our daily. So we are still very much inside this Elliott wave triangle here. If I get rid of the stochastic there. What this on our daily time frame, right? A big A wave coming up. Obviously, we have this little dip right here, courtesy of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏, for those who can remember. And that was a fantastic opportunity to buy at 17 cent. Now, it is possible, okay, it's very possible that we revisit this 17 cent low range, and this is still valid within our E wave, as an E wave is unpredictable. However, I don't think this is probable, but it is possible, so we should just keep it in the back of our heads that, just like what I was saying on that hourly chart, we create that double top, which is bearish. You can create a double bottom here at 17 cent, and that would be bullish, right? And that would be our signal out of here. I don't think we're going to go that low, but if it does happen, then fantastic opportunity. I would actually be focusing more on this area around 30 cent, 29, maybe a little bit lower if we can. There's good support to be found at about 24 cent. You can see this just across here, specifically this area of consolidation and around here. So these are areas that we could be revisiting, and also just at the top here at 32 cent, you can kind of see this is where we were bouncing previously, and we are more than likely going to go down lower than this move here as well. So all eyes are really on these next few steps here for XRP. But it will be led by Bitcoin, but eventually we will reach a bottom. And if we actually go ahead and grab our percentages from the top here, this happened in April of 2021, and we start thinking about where we are, we're at about 83 or 82%. Pullback, if we were to come down to 17 cent, it's about 90%. So it is still highly likely. I say this is probably a bad choice of words. It's definitely likely that we are going to see these kind of lows at some point, but I don't think it's probable. And I think that there's a very different scenarios, right? Because if we take a look at history, we can see that 90% pullback, 95% pullbacks, these are common, right? And we could see, XRP maybe even come all the way down here, right, at 10 cent. And I remember buying this 10 cent XRP, right, way back in 2020. It was fantastic opportunities. And, that would actually be a 95% or 94.7% retracement from that high. So that, if you look at history, would indicate to us that, yeah, that's a possible scenario that we come down to. However, I think it's important to note that really Bitcoin is driving the market. I see Bitcoin's bottom being around the 22,900, and I would anticipate that XRP will bleed out at the same time, and it should bleed out probably to the range of somewhere between 24 and 29 cent, in my opinion. And I think that's going to mark where this E wave ends, and then we get that reversal going on up. Now, obviously, depending on how low you go with this E wave, it will determine how high we go with the C wave. So, for example, this B wave now is all the way down here, right? So essentially, we are currently looking at $6.55. But if we were to drop this down to, let's say, 25 cent, let me find it right there, then our target changes to 4.87, right? So the number is going to change. Doesn't mean that it can't overextend this 1-to-1 ratio. It can go to a 1.236, it can go to a 1.618, a 1.618, or 1.382 even. You can go to all of these levels, but until you kind of see the structure, you don't necessarily know. The more important thing to note is with any of these kind of macro waves, it's the micro waves that make it up that are the most important. Okay, so if this is a 5-wave structure, which is what I would expect to find some kind of 5-wave structure taking us on out of here, and it all depends on whether or not we end up with an overextended 5th wave that takes it much higher. And again, I think the Ripple versus SEC, or the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit will ultimately be the thing that will decide whether or not we end up with extended waves within that breakout. So I think everything's looking pretty good from an XRP front. We obviously have got some opportunities to come in the near future. I do expect some discounted rates here for XRP. It's definitely held up better against many of the other altcoins in the space that have bled out harder. And, you know, I think we are going to see it bleed a little bit more before we get a big reversal to the upside, which I'm expecting to be a 53535 structure inside this C wave after an impulsive breakout from this triangular wedge. So essentially everything's looking pretty good for XRP. Let me know your thoughts and opinions though in the comments down below. What do you think the Ripple and SEC lawsuit outcome will be? Do you think settlement? Do you think Ripple are going to win? Or do you think the SEC will win this one? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to know your thoughts and opinions. If you found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.